I actually didn't come from a family with money, and I used to use vouchers, and I just really wanted to make the unaffordable affordable.
She turned a paper voucher book into a multi-million-dollar business.
I absolutely had no idea what I was doing, but I believed in myself. I believed in the concept, and I believed in myself.
Meet Donna Benton, the powerhouse behind The Entertainer, the app that changed how the Middle East eats, shops, and plays.
It hadn't been done in this region yet, so I was fortunate enough to be here at the right time with the right idea.
From bootstrapping in Dubai to building one of the most loved consumer brands, Donna has scaled, exited, and reinvented herself as the founder of the Benton Group.
You've got to be agile. It's such a fast world now. You have to be able to keep up.
In this episode, we dive into spotting opportunities others missed, the highs and lows of scaling, and what it takes to build a brand that lasts. Let's get into it. Donna, take us back to that moment on Sheikh Zayed Road when the idea of The Entertainer just clicked.
Wow, that was 25 years ago, Dania. But I do remember it like it was yesterday. I had literally just arrived in Dubai 6 months prior. And in fairness, I came here for a job, which fortunately did not work out. And I was driving along Sheikh Zayed Road one day, and I just saw that, there was, at that time, there was still a lot of restaurants and there was attractions then as well, but there was actually no incentive to go to them. At that point, we had a 10% off on a diners club or something, and that was it. So I thought if I could create a buy one, get one free model to incentivize people to go to restaurants and attractions, and at the same time getting footfall to the restaurants and attractions, I thought it would be a winning formula. And that's how The Entertainer was born.
But you came in for a job and you decided to just start a new business in a completely different country. How did you find the courage to do so?
Correct. Well, it was actually a big move for me to move to Dubai because the only place I'd ever been to was Bali. Being Australian, that's where we all go. But I came to Dubai, I was 26. I came for a job. I was basically staying 1 year to save some money to put on an apartment or a house and go back home. And clearly I love Dubai, and I'm still here 25 years later. And look, I always think everything happens outside the box. I took the risk to do it. I was stable in the job that I came here for, but fortunately, as I said, it didn't work out. And I actually didn't come from a family with money, and I used to use vouchers, and I just really wanted to make the unaffordable affordable, and it hadn't been done in this region yet. So I was fortunate enough to be here at the right time with the right idea.
But practically speaking, for any entrepreneur that's listening in, how did you establish the business back then?
Oh, listen, I absolutely had no idea what I was doing, but I believed in myself. I believed in the concept, and I believed in myself. I came here with $3,000. I knew that wasn't enough to start a business. So I went to friends, and I had family living here at that stage. And it was a girl that I actually met at the job that I was in, and she actually had the belief in the concept and myself to invest. It was 120,000 dirham.
That's a lot from someone you just met at a job.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We came very close very quick.
Clearly.
Yeah. She's still one of my great friends today. Oh. So so it was 120,000 dirham. And to be honest, with that money even, we got the trade license, etc. But because I hadn't really been in publishing, because Entertainer used to be a book, I was excited, and I probably spent half the money on the wrong things. But without doing that, you don't make mistakes and you don't learn. So that's also a lot of the entrepreneurial journey. You have to make mistakes along the way. But the key is you just don't make the same one twice.
That's just part of it, right? Mistakes you learn, and you fail again and again and again, and in different ways, hopefully.
Exactly. And you learn the key with entrepreneurship is passion, hard work, dedication, and a great idea. And that's what entrepreneurial is about.
Absolutely. What's interesting about The Entertainer is you actually just said you started out with a paper voucher book, right? And now you're a tech-first company.
Correct.
How did that transition come about?
The book had so many great benefits, but obviously we're in a digital world now, and it's very tech-driven. We're very much a lifestyle company now on a tech platform. But we were in 15 countries when we went digital. So when I used to proofread all the books, it was a lot. We used to carry around the books. But the transition happened, we actually didn't do it all at once. So we actually, for the first year we went digital, we actually kept the book and people could choose if they wanted the print option or the digital option. And then from the second year, we cut some countries. So Asia was the first one we cut, being Singapore, Malaysia, and Hong Kong on the book side because they're quite tech-driven, Asia.
Is it easier to scale a digital-first company?
Everyone thinks it is, but it's actually not. We had to, when you look at it from us, we're 15 countries, over 10,000 merchants. The back end is extremely difficult because we had to train, we had to give everything pins, we had to do a lot of behind the scenes, and obviously it's got to work. With a print, it's interesting, with a printed book, the more you print, the cheaper it is. Yeah. With app users, the more people that use, the more expensive it is because of the cloud and whatnot with the hosting. So look, they both have their pros and cons. Obviously, data is a big key in tech, usability. You've always got your phone with you. So there's obviously a lot more perks to going digital now. But there was still a lot with the print as well.
And right now with digital, I mean, that's what customers expect as well, right?
They expect it. You have to be agile. You have to keep up with the times. Even with us, a great thing with us, when we had the printed books, if a merchant couldn't sign in during the year because we'd already printed the product. But now if a restaurant opens or an attraction, we can add them straight to the app. So we're a lot more user-friendly, both with merchants and with customers.
Donna, I'd love to go back, though, to the early days. When did you feel that The Entertainer actually became a household name? When was the turning point for The Entertainer?
Look, to be honest, I do get asked that a lot. I'm just very fortunate. Entertainer actually made money year 2. So yeah, we're very fortunate in that way. But when I thought, this I think is going to be great, it was probably around year 4 when we had some B2B clients as well. So people were starting to get to know The Entertainer. Obviously, year 1 was really difficult because people didn't know about it. It was the first sign up for the merchants, and actually customers thought it was going to be too good to be true. Like, I can really go to Wild Body and buy one, get one. Yeah. I'm like, yes. And get 3 vouchers. Yes. So then it was actually Mushrik Bank. They were our first B2B client. So from there, I thought, wow, this, as we call it, so this has legs, as I put it. And then that's when we expanded throughout the whole GCC and it really took off.
And what was your goal as a founder when you founded the company?
To be honest, I didn't really have a goal.
No?
I just wanted to have a really successful, I wanted to make the unaffordable affordable.
Yeah.
I was actually, when I started the company, I thought if I could sell this business for $1 million dirham, I would be that excited. And I didn't really focus on the monetary side, to be honest.
And you sold it for a lot more.
I did sell it for a lot more. But I think if you're too focused on the money and not the business, it doesn't work. You have to, I'm very much in the business and I still am today. But if you focus in and on the business, then the money will come. If you love what you do and you work hard and the concept's good, it will come. But if you're focusing on just the money and business plans, whatnot all the time, well, you're not focusing on the business.
Because the goal should be creating value.
Correct.
Right? Ultimately, it's not about the money. The money will follow, but you need to create value.
100%. Exactly.
While we're talking about selling, you did sell a majority stake to Bahrain's GFH Group. I want to know the details of it. We don't hear the backstories. How did it actually happen? Was it in your plan?
Everyone wants to know the backstory, Dania. Yeah, it was. Basically, we sold 50% to a big private equity company in 2012. So every PE company has an exit strategy at the same time. So it was 5-6 years that they'd been into it. And look, to be honest, it was good timing for me. I was actually going through a divorce at that time. I had 2 young children. It was stability for myself at the same time. And I've been doing it for 17 years and I just wanted a little bit of a change. So we did a roadshow in America. We saw some great companies. We went to the States, saw likes of Groupon, Carlyle Group, some big PE companies. We did the UK, we did the Middle East, and it was actually, GFH acquired 85% of the business along with Alpha Team in 2016 at that point.
And how did you feel once that sale was finalized?
I was, it's funny. It's not all about the money. I mean, yes, don't get me wrong, the money's great, but you're also, I felt like I was giving up one of my children. So I was actually, to be honest, a little bit sad.
Yeah.
I was happy. It was mixed emotions. I was obviously very excited about the security and stability of what I got for it. But you always think, this has been my life for 17 years. What if they don't look after it? Or what if something happens? And you sort of cling to it. So it did take me sort of a year or two to let go. But I knew I wanted to do something different and to try some new things.
But you did let go for a couple of years before deciding to come back to the entertainer in 2023. And in just a few months, you signed, I believe, 1,700 merchants. How did you reignite growth?
Well, I was actually quite happy. I'd started my own company called the Benton Group, where I am a shareholder in a company called Sunset Hospitality, where we have brands like Mott 32, Sushi Samba, Aura, except we have 36 brands in 26 countries.
Wow.
I also started my own swimwear company called Kaha Kapo, which I generally loved, and I was doing that full time. And I also had a salon called Chloe's as well. And I also dabble a little bit in property. So I was actually very happy with what I was doing. And then the chairman actually messaged me from Entertainer, and he wanted to meet with me. And look, basically it was the other CEOs that were on board had a very different vision than what I did. They were very much B2B guys, Entertainers predominantly B2C. And he asked me if I would come back. So he did pull on my heartstrings a little bit because it was my commercial baby. But I did want to see it. It was such a good company and it has so much value. And I did want to see it back to where it was and even further. And that's the reason that I generally went back to make it not good again, but to make it great again.
What's interesting what you said is that they had probably a B2B kind of vision, but you look at more B2C. Tell me more about how that is, given that you do have merchants as well, right?
Yeah, well, look, the merchants are the foundation of our whole business. So we're very much B2C led. So yes, when I came back, I brought some of my old team back with me and, I had to restructure the company again. But the benefit of that is I knew it inside and out, and I could do that quite quickly. We signed 1,700 new merchants within 7 months.
Wow.
And that comes to the trust factor, where I dealt with these merchants for a very long time and they trusted me because they dealt with me for so long. So that was really nice. But you had to produce, I had to redo the whole wireframing of the app. I got rid of the discounts because we're a buy one, get one free company. It's the strongest deal in the market. It's the strongest deal you can have. And that's the deal that I wanted to go back to. That's what we're all known for. So there was a lot to do. And, we've just got there now, to be honest. And now it's our 25th anniversary. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we've actually, for our launch that we've just done, we've just redone our app, and it's the biggest change that we've ever had in the history of Entertainer with our new app.
Building a successful company is one thing, but having it be successful and sustaining a company for 25 years is something else. What's your biggest lesson there?
It's the basics: passion, hard work, grit, knowing your business inside and out, always doing the right by people, loyalty, looking after your staff, company culture. Company culture is huge. They're your human capital. And also being visionary at the same time. You've got to be agile. You have to move. We went, I call it analog to digital. It's such a fast world now. You have to be able to keep up. And at the bottom line, you have to deliver. And I think we do that.
You said the word passion now, I think 3-4 times. So I have to ask you this question, which is, not a lot of entrepreneurs say passion is important. But do you think passion is important? Because a lot of entrepreneurs might say, spot an opportunity and just go after it. You don't need to be passionate about it.
I couldn't disagree more.
Yeah.
I have the 4 Ps when I invest in something. And if one of them is gone, I don't invest. So people, purpose, passion equals profit. And if you don't have the passion for it, if somebody, for example, asked me to invest in spare tires, I don't have passion for tires. I wouldn't be doing it, because you're not then getting involved and you're not putting in your heart, and not saying that you're going to run that company, but you don't have an interest in it. And as an entrepreneur or an investor, you actually generally want that. Otherwise, if you don't want that, go and invest in bonds and shares or get good interest rates from the bank, because you don't have to worry about that. So definitely people, purpose, passion are key in anything.
And passion is what pushes you through the rough days as well, right?
Exactly. I mean, when your back's against the wall and when you're low with money in the bank account, and that's every startup has that, the passion gets you through it. You've got to love what you do. You've got to want to get out of bed. And we all have our days where we don't, but you have to want to get out of bed and go to work and see the people and have the purpose. But most importantly, you have to have the passion.
You've successfully not only launched Entertainer just in Dubai, but you guys expanded across 15 countries. What's your playbook for entering a new market?
My first playbook is get one country right first. Don't move too fast. Crawl before you can walk. But when you're ready to walk, then get your runners on and start running. So get it right first, and then you expand. And it really depends on the country you're going to. Like GCC, we're very familiar with. So similar rules, regulations, very different in Asia, in Singapore or Hong Kong, very different in the UK, very different in South Africa. So you just have to understand the legalities, whether they're satellite offices. So there's a lot that goes into it. You just have to really know what you're doing and know that country.
I think one of the biggest mistakes in entrepreneurships is expanding way too quickly as well. Maybe a big push is investors also push a lot of entrepreneurs to do so, but you need to, like you said, focus on one market before you get to the other. But what was the hardest market to crack for you?
Hardest market to crack? Singapore's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Singapore's quite a hard market. We're still in Singapore, so that's good. Different markets, different.
But why is
different
Singapore
regions.
hard?
A lot of legalities. The Singaporeans, they love discounts and whatnot, but there's a lot of them at the same time. It's just a tough market for many reasons, and that's just not with us. It's in everything. It's a very different mentality, and they have to trust you to actually continue using you. They also are very happy to swap if something better comes along. It's like restaurants; they shut and close. They're very shut and open. Very quickly. I'd say there's loyalty, but not as much as there is here.
What's Dubai's challenge?
Oh, Dubai, I love. This is our home ground. This is where we're actually strongest. Dubai's challenge is I want everybody to have an entertainer, because everybody should, because it saves them so much money. And they're also helping all the outlets at the same time to get footfall, to help get them revenue. So it's actually a win-win. But we love Dubai. We love the UAE.
You've been here for a long time. What new products do you have probably in 2026 that are coming up?
So the big one that we've just launched is, we used to have a Dubai product and an Abu Dhabi product, and now we have a UAE product. So for 25 years, we've combined the products, and it's the same price as it was last year.
Now you have a very strong brand. Is it easier to acquire customers?
So look, a lot of our product is word of mouth. People use it. I could be using it with you, and you go, what's that? So we're fortunate Entertainer's been in the market for such a long time, and we have millions of users, to be honest, on B2C and B2B. So a lot of it's word of mouth, but saying that, it is a new generation as well, that a lot of people are coming into the UAE that don't know about the Entertainer. So we do digital and advertising, and we also sponsor a lot of sporting events. So I'm very big in community. I'm very big at supporting people who support you.
Because that's how you build a brand that lasts.
Well, you do, and you've got to give back. You really have to give back. And Entertainer is very community driven, and we're very, whether you're a couple, individual, or family, it really benefits everybody.
Other than the Entertainer, you also spoke about that you started the Benton Group, for example.
Yes.
How do you decide what to invest your time, capital in? You're doing a lot all at once. How do you manage all of that?
Yeah, look, Sunset Hospitality runs itself.
Yeah.
When I say that, I don't run it. It doesn't run itself. We have 5,000 staff. Our founders, Antonio and Naz, are absolutely brilliant. So they run that. I'm on the board. So I'm on the business rather than in the business. I also have a great manager for my swimwear company, Kaha Kapo. So she runs that, and I'll check in with her a couple of times a week. The salon, the same thing. And I've actually just invested in the MENA Golf Tour, which is our new baby that's coming up, which is exciting for this region. And we have a phenomenal board and shareholders in that, and a great general manager. as well. So that's really exciting. But entertainer is my main focus, and obviously things that I do in my personal investments that I do.
It's interesting that you're doing so many things at once. And I told you before we started taping that obviously I did stalk you for this, interview. But one of the things that came up is you talked about how balance is super important as well. But do you think that's true at all parts of like building a business? What about when you're initially grinding it out?
Yeah, when you start up, there's no balance. I'm going to make that very clear right now. No balance, because generally when you're really starting up, you also don't have any money. So, I mean, you look at the Steve Jobs, the Richard Bransons of the world, they had no money. You're doing everything yourself. And it was the same with me. I was, going to spinnies with the trolley and delivering books. I was at the municipality. I was going to merchants. The only thing I couldn't do was the design, because I'm not a designer, but I literally sat with the designers. So look, when you start up, you generally don't have a lot of money, and it depends on if you need the investment, then you have shareholders, and then you have people that you need to report to. So look, it really depends on scale, what you have. But generally at the beginning, the balance really outweighs. But once you've started and you've become successful and you're a company, as I would put it, you need to have a balance, because that's what you also pay people to do. You have to trust them. You can't really micromanage. We can, but you have to make sure that everyone's doing things right. But you also have to have some time out as well. Otherwise, you get burnt out.
Should you micromanage?
I don't think you should.
Yeah.
You should. If someone's doing their job right, you should trust them.
You shouldn't
micromanage. Yeah. The only way you micromanage is at the beginning, where they're new in the company, and you're not really micromanaging, you're really explaining. You're there for their help or assistance, and you're flexible to what they need. But if they're good at what they do, you shouldn't have to micromanage.
Exactly. And they bring fresh perspectives as well. Like, you can't just copy paste yourself into all of your things.
Exactly. And that's what you have management meetings for and things. So you can touch base with them, whatever, once a week, twice a week, etc. So you have to let people fly. You have to let them run the show. Otherwise, there's no point in having them.
Absolutely. I'm curious also to know how has your relationship with money changed over time? You talked about not growing up with much. Now you're very successful. So how has your relationship with money changed over time?
Yeah, look, money with me, I'm really about security and stability, and maybe that stems from not growing up with money. I'm still, to be honest, I'm still very humble. My feet are very much still on the ground. I'm a hard worker. I don't gloat. I do like some nice things. I don't need a designer handbag every month or two. I'll keep the same bag probably for a few years or 4 years. I really, that doesn't bother me. With my money, I generally invest in property, because I always think if you went broke, this is the security and stability. If you went broke, you've always got somewhere to live. You're always getting a revenue from it, and it hopefully will appreciate. So I have invested in property over the years. Every dividend I used to get, I used to put a deposit on a house or an apartment, because also then the money's gone. You can't spend it. And I actually have a saying, if you spend, you'll never be able to save. But if you save, you'll always be able to spend.
I love that. In terms of investing in property, why do you choose that asset class?
I bought my first property, when I started Entertainer, I know, I had 60,000 dirham in the bank. And it was a place at JLT. It was an apartment. Remember, it was 500,000 dirham, and that time you had to put a 10% deposit and pay it on completion. So I literally took the risk, and as entrepreneurs as well, no risk, no reward. So I literally put most of my savings down, 50,000 dirham, on a property. But it was gone. I couldn't spend it, because I could have easily spent that on bags or holidays, etc. But I couldn't once it was gone. So, and I've always just then continued to do the property along the way.
I read somewhere that you said that rejection means redirection. Can you tell me more about your hardest rejection?
Rejection is redirection. Look, if you break up with somebody or he's broken up with you, it wasn't meant to be, and it's a redirection, and then that sort of goes. In business, I don't take rejection very well as a person, but I know when a no's a no. So when merchants say they don't want to go into the Entertainer, I sometimes used to take that a little bit to heart, because I just think it's so good. So I would I took it a little bit as a rejection, but I never gave up until I knew it was a no. Or if an investor came in and didn't want to do it. But look, to be honest, in business, you can't take things to heart. That's probably what I'd say. Everyone has rejection over the years, whether it's in personal or professional, but you just can't take it to heart. You have to deal with rejection, and the rejection's redirection, but you always have to try and put a positive spin on it. So I'm also the unrealistic optimistic as well. And if you are rejected in some shape or form, then you have to look at why and then move on to, okay, that happened. Let's move on from it. Let's not dwell on it and move forward.
Absolutely. And you can't maybe change the outcome, but you can change how you look at it as well.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
You can put a different perspective on it, and mindset is key. And then you have to move on with it. Otherwise, you're wasting time, energy, you're stressed, and you're not focusing on the important things in life.
You talked about some personal rejections. If someone's going through some personal rejection, how does that impact all of the other things that you're doing and all the businesses that you're running?
Well, personal rejection is emotional.
Yeah.
And emotion, especially more for women, I suppose, then it can reflect in business. You know, when I was going through my divorce, for example, that was emotional, but you had to keep going. And not only as a CEO and founder, you have to keep going, but you have to lead by example.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's hard for senior caliber of people. You've got to put your smiley face on all the time as such. But everyone has issues. That's what I'd say. You have to really understand a person, and everybody has issues, and whether we call that mental health these days or whatever it may be. But just having some empathy and understanding. And I think as a woman CEO or female CEO, we probably have a little bit more empathy, whether it's someone having a baby in the workforce or them needing to go and see their kids at their school concert or something, because we've been there and done that.
I love the way women lead, actually, because of that empathy. It creates a very nurturing environment. You can still be firm, but the team feels like they're bigger, like parts of something bigger. And I love the way that women lead. How has your experience been as a woman CEO? Have you had any challenges?
Being a woman in business, it's nothing different than being a man, in fairness, except I believe women do multitask a little better. You know, what we've got the home as well. Yeah. So we've got the kids at home. For those who have got kids, we've got management of the children, then you're managing your staff. So that's where the balance kicks in. Yeah. And, you know, I'm the first to say I couldn't do it with great help at the same time. I have my help at home, they're like my family. They are my family. So no one person can do everything themselves. Yeah. You have to be a good delegator also. So there's a lot that goes into it. But as a woman, yes, we are generally more nurturing and we have a lot more empathy. Yeah. And I think that goes a long way in the workforce.
Actually, if I reflect on my own journey, being young was more of an issue than being a woman in terms of being taken seriously. Yeah.
Because of the experience, right?
Especially being in the finance world. I started in when I was like 21, and it was hard.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It was hard.
Proud.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, I don't really look at CVs. Yeah. That's another thing with me. Obviously, in certain positions I do. But if it's a sales role, for example, I don't want to see a CV. I want to see them. And I really don't mind the age as long as not even moldable, but they have the right attitude, they have good work ethic, they're personable, they're keen, they're willing to learn. That's all you can ask in someone. They don't need a CV of 15 years sales experience. You just have to give people opportunity. And I am all about opportunity for people.
And to me, attitude is what matters the most. Because if someone has the right attitude, they're going to figure anything out.
Exactly. Yeah. They have to want to learn. That's what it is. I don't want somebody coming in at 9, leaving at 5:30. They know everything. They're not prepared to learn. They're not engaging with other staff. I mean, that's my worst nightmare, to be honest. Yeah. You need to click. You need to have chemistry in the office. And look, there's 2 things I don't stand in the office, and it's bitchiness and ego. They're out. Anyone, I don't care how good they are, they go.
I love that. I love that.
I'm very direct with that.
Love that. Donna, looking into the future, AI is really changing the game. How do you think AI is changing the game for your industry and for the consumer experience?
Yeah, look, for us, when we've just launched our app, we have a huge AI component now in there called Happy, where it's our, I can't remember what it stands for, no, helpful artificial personalized intelligence tool. I call it the entertainer Siri as such. So now you can ask Happy on our app where you would like to go to the best Thai restaurant in the marina, how many offers can I use, where's the best pizza place. You can actually ask anything from the rules of use to frequently asked questions about food, about countries, about anything related to entertainer. It's so easy, and we never had that before. So the AI component for us is absolutely huge, and that's one of the biggest things that we've
That's
put in
going
our
to be a
app now.
game changer.
Game changer. It took us on the back end. It was a lot to do, but it looks simple. Simple isn't easy, but that was game changing for us. We've also got now on our app what's trending for you, so it's all personalized.
One size doesn't fit all. So it's all about personalization. People want to see more relevant things to them rather than all the
Exactly.
others. Yeah.
Some people have families, some people are a couple, some
Yeah.
people want child-friendly things to do, some people don't. So now we have to be very adaptable and we have to be agile. And with our new app, that's exactly what we are.
And what's next for you, Donna?
Wow. Well, entertainer, definitely going deeper and wider into countries. And we'd love in a few years to IPO. That would be one thing. I've never done that before, and that would be amazing to do in the future for us. So we're just getting everything in order to be able to do that. And
Do you have timelines for that?
yeah, look, I'd say 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
We're not just a lifestyle company anymore. We're growing into a tech company now also, whereby, we have all the AI functions. We have a lot that others can't build and that we don't have. So we are going, I can't really say much why I'm here, but we do have a plan of what we're going to do. We're going to be adding new things onto the app in the next year as well. So to make it a bit more like your everyday app.
We'll have to have you back in when you guys are public.
Yes.
We need all the
of course.
details.
Then I'll be able to tell you some finance.
I would love to hear that. I really enjoyed this conversation, but I'll wrap it up with one of our favorite questions.
Okay.
If you were 21 today, what advice would you give yourself?
I would give myself nothing. I would.
Really?
Yeah, because if I didn't go through the journey, I actually wouldn't be where I am today. So people always say, what would you do to change? And I don't think I would give myself anything because I've accomplished what I have now. And if I gave my 21-year-old advice, that might have changed. So I think I would I would still be the same 21-year-old.
I love that. You're the first person who answered with nothing. But thank you so much, Donna.
Thank you.
This has been honestly so insightful.
No, thank you for having me. It's been great.
Thank you.